Today's already the 17th. So we're not far away.
Right, I'm going to fire people into the group. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Here they slowly pop in. Hello, Lynn. Hi, Bernard.
Hi, Robert.
We got Bob in the group, Chris in the group,
Hi,
Chris and Kurt. Evening, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going?
Very, 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 very well, and super busy. We've had a lot of great feedback from people on the themes, and our devs have been doing some tweaks to make them even better than before. So if you do pick up on something, raise a support ticket with us on the support desk, and we'll happily make sure that everything is all resolved and sorted for everyone. That's why we're here, to make sure that these become super reliable for you guys, and that, you know, and ultimately that's why we do the Q&As for you as well each week. So so everyone's aware, we're going to be taking a break. So we return on January the 7th, if I got the date right, Friday, January the 7th. And what we're going to do is set the link up in the group so that the Zoom meetings repeat. So you get notifications from Zoom each week when we go live in here, just to make your life a wee bit easier. I've been learning Zoom slowly, so you teach an old dog new tricks, I guess.
And we'll have the support desk open, of course. It may not be as quick as we would like it to be in some cases, because I am going to be traveling for the holidays myself, and we would just have to take a little break. It's been a tough 6 months.
Yeah.
But very, very exciting on how so many things have developed for people so quickly. And you know, look at this chat. This is wonderful. People showing up live to ask their questions and get updates. And you know, the one thing that comes to my mind right now at the moment is Bernard. You know, here's a guy that walked in, had spent quite a bit of time and effort doing his own things, getting his mind right to proceed forward. And like all of us, bought the programs, bought the dream of different things that should work, but sometimes they don't. And that's one of the reasons why Steve and I are so passionate about the Done For You Magic Themes, because we also did the same thing, spent lots of money, bought lots of programs, and we're left hanging at the goal line in many cases of what's the next step. I mean, twice, and that's where I get frustrated and my passion comes out, because twice, not once, I had a very gifted person in training take me through the entire course, have Facebook ads set up, have them running, spending money, and say, next week we're going to optimize the ads so you can really start to see where you'll be fruitful instead of just spending money. And never hear another word about the course or the program. And you're like, what do you mean you're out of town? And then it just drops, and they're no longer reachable. And that to me is worse than anything else. So it's not uncommon for the course to be sold, and once the check or the credit card clears, you never reach support again. Yeah, you can refund it. Yeah, you can do things, but in many cases, I think the real big rule there is 90% of the time, people don't even ask for the refund because they don't get to get back to it, even though they purchased it. And by the time they get back to it, the 30 days have went by, and it's too late to get the refund, or if there was a refund, you know, depending on what was purchased. In many cases, you know, it's a $27 item, it's a $47 item. We don't sweat that. But when you get into these $1,000, $10,000 programs, $5,000 programs, and they don't deliver, it's very frustrating. Sorry, I went off on that tangent, but
we're here.
Look what Bernard did this week. He came in, he went through, you know, getting hit in the head with the 2x4 a few times, and he said, you know what, I'm going to work on this. And he said,
told you I don't give up.
You don't give up. And man, when you hit the ground running, you hit the ground running. And I almost have to pull you back and slow you down a little bit, because I mean, built 5 sites in, I think, 6 or 7 days. I guess you gave yourself time to eat, but that's incredible. And I am, and so is Stephen, very proud of what you did, because what you did is you said, I'm not going to be caught up in, what's the phrase I had recently? Somebody said to me, it's screw the how, just do it. And when we overcompensate, trying to figure out how every little detail works, we don't do anything. And that's what you proved there, Bernard, by just taking the action, follow the training, hitting the buttons, sites are built. Now, is there more to learn? Absolutely. And you're going to go through that.
We got lots to teach, Robert. Yeah. It's yeah, and the things we release stuff as we go along, because we don't want people feeling overwhelmed, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed in any program. And just to mention in the chat, Ron's, but when was the electrical site last updated? Our devs updated it this week. So you should, when you download the current file, that should be the latest version. If there's any issues, please let us know. Can you walk us through the proper way to reinstall the update theme without messing up anything else up on the website? I think I can set something up, Robert. It might take me a few minutes.
We want you to go in and screw them up, because that's how you really learn.
What I will do, because
what do you mean, Ron? What are you saying, though? That's how you learn the most. No,
what we'll actually do is, because we like to do help and support on here, as soon as we finish this call tonight, because I've got to go shopping tomorrow, I haven't had time to do anything. So what I'll do tonight, I'll do the quick run. I'll record it straight afterwards and get it in the members area, and then you can watch it. And if you have any problems following it, then raise a support ticket, and I'll try and hop on with you, or do a small group where we can, of people who might be struggling to do the updates. It'd be easier for me to do that step by step than rush through it tonight, and I might miss something, because I like to make sure it's correct.
Who asked that question? Was it Ron?
That was Ron, yeah.
Ron, if you've already done your alt tags and descriptions, then it's one process. It's a little bit harder of a process. If you haven't done your alt tags and descriptions, it's really just a reset of the files.
Yeah, I've done all the alt tags and description.
Okay, first question I have for you, because Lynn will tell you the best thing you can do is put all your alt tags and descriptions into some kind of a Word document or a spreadsheet, so you always have those. If you didn't do them at the first go round, okay, that way you have the backup copy of the content, and you also it's a good reference to when you build the next site that's like it in the same niche, so that you can alter them a little bit different from the first one.
Yeah.
But we'll show you both ways. But I was just trying to cut to the chase that if you don't have all your alt tags done or descriptions on your images, that's a simpler process than if you do. It still can be done. It's just some extra steps involved.
Well, I had to have all that done because you said it goes step by step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ron, the best thing to do, if you haven't already, drop a support ticket in with your login details. All right. And then what I will do is we'll do a process on the server where we'll do a backup of the database, and then we'll see if we can upgrade it without you losing your old images. And then moving forward, we'll show other people how to do the updates. But this update shouldn't remove the old images the way it is, but I want to make sure I do a backup of your database first before I run through it. All right.
All right, great. Thank you.
Special guest star just came in. Santa, you don't have time for these calls.
Who's that? Sorry?
Don.
Oh, he's
Jingle
muted. You're muted, Don.
Yeah, I'm in between test runs.
He's getting ready. He's getting ready to get on his sleigh on Christmas Eve. Can you make sure you do my kid's house first, because they're super excited.
Yeah.
Calling the favors from Santa himself. So if anyone's got any questions, please raise your hand. And so because otherwise I'll miss you on the system, and you'll appear. I've seen we got Chris there, so we'll swap you guys over, and I'm getting used to all this swapping people around now. So we'll put Santa back up there for the moment, and let's have a look a minute, find the right person. Was it Chris, wasn't it? Yeah. Let's unmute yourself, Chris, and I'll add you to Spotlight. We can't hear you yet.
Bernard has his hand up, and so does Lynn.
Yeah. Yeah. Subtitles are on page 888. I'll do some sign. I can't do sign language, but do we on your mic? You got a little microphone symbol in the bottom corner on Zoom, and we'll give you a couple. We'll give you a few minutes see if you can fix it. Yeah, and we'll come back to you in a minute. So hopefully we might hear him in a minute. Let's drop Bernard into the Spotlight, and then we'll bring Lynn in afterwards. Oh, hang on a minute. I did the wrong thing there. Let me just switch this. Add to Spotlight. I'm doing well tonight, aren't I? Me and technology. Yeah, I build these things technically. You all right, Bernard?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I just want to make sure, who was it? Was it Ron just talking about something? But on the alt text and the images, we should have those in before we minimize, correct?
And it makes no difference.
Makes
The minify part, all that does is hides the Magic Page plugin, plain and simple. Okay. So imagine that 10,000 sites were built over a period of a month by 10,000 people, and everyone had Magic Page plugin on it. Suddenly, you got a situation that Google can see that, and they go, well, these must be spam sites because they're mass page builder sites. So you minify it, and that hides the plugin completely. All right, and that's why you change the URL structure and other bits like that as well in the training, and that's that done. So the only reason we say do a backup first is in future training we're going to be showing you how to take that site that you built, and you can actually restore it using WP Vivid. So you could build a site, have it all set up and ready to go, and keep a copy of it to make the process even quicker to do another install. Now, that's one way of doing it. That I don't like WP Vivid so much, because if you've got a backup that's 6 months old and you do a restore, the updates won't be on it, and it can cause problems. So we prefer to teach you to say, look, if there's no backup, don't use it, and use the install process instead, because it's a fresh install. You get a fresh database, and there's no issues there then.
Here's a big cloud around the minify part, and this is what part of all the frustrations are, is the minify really resonates out there in the MPP community as being must be done, but must be done after you create your Evergreen website. So meaning that you have a website that you're going to have a copy of, you still want the MPP information left in there before you minify. You then copy that site because you're going to put it on multiple location domains like other places. So the confusion out there, not part of the DFI Magic program, let me make that clear, is you minify after you've created your Evergreen site so that you have the original copy to then put on your other domains. In the Done For You Magic themes, you're already classified as an Evergreen site with the file downloads from the members area. That's the big difference. You still are going to minify each time you do a domain name to hide the magic page in the URL structure so that they don't look all like the same sites out there on the internet to Google. But that's where there's a lot of confusion in that area. And you can minify earlier, and you can take the minify off. But the reality is when you download the file from Done For You Magic Themes member area, that's technically a Evergreen site without locations on it, because you guys are putting the locations. You guys are putting the specific content of the names, the phone numbers, the contact, that stuff that makes your sites unique. I hope that helps. And
yeah,
question about being able to minify right away, you can.
Yeah.
But think about, before you do that, that you have the basics done, the basic settings done.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you talked about Lynn saving her alt texts and images and things like that, is that a separate place to save it, or do you use that same backup vid thing?
For
We
me to
say-
say that to you, Bernard, it's always a good idea to have a secondary document of the alt tags and descriptions, because if you have one electrical site and you're gonna do, I don't know, New York City, and then you're gonna do the next one in the Bronx, and you wanna have your alt tags and descriptions a little different from New York City site to the Bronx, if you're trying to dominate a particular area that's kind of close together. And that way you'll have different rankings for different keywords, because all you're really doing is telling Google that there's more content on your individual sites that pertains to those images. Because when they're looking at the images, they're only looking at images. But when you put the alt tags and descriptions on the back end, now they're adding that content into the total package of the content. So the more keyword variations, like if you put the exact same keyword and the exact same description on every one of your pictures, it's the wrong way to do it. You want a variation of them, but in niche related terms, if that makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense, but how do you're saying you put that in a different place, like a Word document? So
so what you do, set yourself up a spreadsheet, a Google Docs spreadsheet for free, or an Excel one, and have columns matching the alt tags. So as you do the images, what I would do is I'd say this image is on the home page, right? And these are the labels to go with it. And the way I work on a home page, I start with the first image down to the last image on that page. So I can then say home page image 1 is this alt tag, is this description, it's right? And then image 2 is this. And it just means that if for any reason, right, and WordPress and all these softwares can go wrong when you do updates, right? And we found this with various products, that you do an update and you can wipe things out. And you go back in and go, well, what did I have in image 1 last week? I can't remember. So keep a simple spreadsheet of all your alt tags, and that makes it a lot easier. We are on the future builds, we are designing them in a way that you're going to enter in a URL into the magic form in the future, so you can upload everything to one place, whether that's a media library or a Google Drive or somewhere like that, where you can share it publicly. And then we're looking into actually adding the alt tags to the images so that way then you could load the images into an online drive already with the alt images in, alt tags in, ready, done. And it means then you don't enter it into WordPress, because WordPress library is always fun in that way. So Don's just saying these are the fields I use: alt text, title, caption, description, file URL, latitude, longitude. And there are products out there that can add all this information into the image itself. So then you save it on a Google Drive, and then use the URL inside our software that loads the image up.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys very much.
No, you're welcome, Bernard. Not a problem. Right, let's switch over to Lynn.
First of all, before Lynn starts talking, do you guys know how to raise your hand in Zoom? Does everybody know how to do that? No, but I mean, not your physical hand, but the digital hand.
Yeah, there's a button that says reaction just below you. You click on the reaction tab, and on there it says raise hand. You can raise your hand, and you'll appear up in line. And we'll it saves me having to search for you if you're waving. So hello, Lynn.
The whole meeting, because not only can you raise your hand for the question, but then we see it and it pulls you up more closer to the top in the gallery view.
Right, mine isn't. Mine's a silly thing. How do I know I've been told not to overthink it, but say I've got a website there, and how do I work out how far away to put the next one?
That's easy, very easy. So if I get a Google Maps up a minute, right, that's the best way to show you, and then I can explain more on here. Let's
I-
put
I'm
in.
gonna say, can I say something real quick, Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. How far away is one shopping center versus another shopping center for you?
In my case, I've got 2 in one town.
10 miles, 20 miles?
I've got, maybe 5 miles. I don't know.
Okay, so if they're if they're 5 miles apart, then you have an overlap. They're very competitive. For what we're doing for service-based industry websites, my opinion is if you had them, let's say, on a radius that the website's going to cover 30 miles, and if you had a 10 to 15 mile overlap between the two,
Yeah.
then you could create a competitive edge for one customer renting your site versus another, and you can have them compete for the edges that are on both websites. So if the guy's renting your site and you're covering, let's say, 10 kilometers, in diameter, and he's taking care of all those locations. And then you say to him, hey, by the way, I have my other website that covers this area, and it happens to have all of these other cities that are very close to where you are already with this site. Would you like more of those locations? Because I can get you on that other site, or I can add those locations to your site. And you can create your own upsells to the clients that you have in your rental business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But in a very easy way, Lynn, right? Imagine I
Yeah.
had a site in Croydon, okay? And I'm covering sort of this area in Croydon if we zoom in a bit more. So I'd be covering all these little areas in Croydon. And then I would come out and I'd go, I'm going to hit Dartford, but Dartford's going to probably overlap a little bit into covering Bromley and parts of Croydon. There's no harm in them overlapping each other. And then you can work your way around, Romford. So you just, and your areas. Most people know their areas. So the thing is to pick good populations as well. London's may not necessarily be the best of examples I'm giving, but it's a highly populated area, so you can overlap in London. So you can set a site up. And another example as well is that if you're doing different niches, right, you could say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to hit Epsom to start with in pest control, but I'm going to set up Croydon with electricians, and I'm going to see how they do as well. But it's all down to the mileage, and remember as well, the smaller area you do, right, the better chance you've got to charge for an upgrade. So if you're going to rent the site out to somebody, hello, Mr. Pest Control Man, I see you haven't got a website. I've got one ready with your name on. Would you like to rent it? He goes, yes, please. And he rents that site from you. And then you can then say to him, hey, how would you like to also, because you're in Croydon, how would you like to also be able to cover maybe Bromley, because you've just done Croydon on its own. And then you up the magic page to cover Bromley. And then you say, how'd you like to cover Sutton, Epsom? And you can gradually expand that the areas and the pages being built. Because I've shown in the training how to create the physical pages.
Yeah.
Well, you just go back in and put a new location in there. All right. So you go, okay, I'm going to generate a new location, and I'm going to create a new group at the top, and I'm going to call it Epsom, and I'm going to create lower down the new location set, which is Epsom. Boom, generate the pages.
Okay.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you say to him, hey, how far out do you want to go? Do you want to go out a bit further? Do you want to hit West Kingston? Do you want to hit Romford? And in fact, in this case, if you're covering Croydon, I've set a new site up for Romford because it's far enough away if you look on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where for London, I would set up, 6-7 sites all the way around London, and then also I'd set up a central one for London. Now, London's going to be a pain in the backside to rank for because there's a lot of competition. But when we get into more PBN building and linking, what we can do then is we could take the Watford site and have a post in the background pointing to your London site. And gradually Google will go, okay, well, Mr. Watford is recommending the London site. on one of his posts, and eventually London gets pushed up as well, and you end up being the leader in London, and no one can do anything about it.
Okay, thank you.
So I hope that sort of makes some sense for you.
Yeah.
Marvelous. Thank you, Lynn. Right, let's swap these around a minute. And let's see if we can now hear Chris. Have you fixed your mic, Chris?
Is it working this time round? Yeah, we go.
Yes.
Just a
How are
setting
you
in the
doing, buddy?
background.
All right.
I'm very well, thank you, my friend. Very well indeed. A bit of an overlap on a few things, but I won't try and repeat it too much. So I'm looking at the alt tags and the image optimization stuff. Gone through and done done quite a few of them. Is there any reason why something like SEO Quake won't pick up or say that there's no alt text on images and stuff? Is there a setting that's blocking something, or have I got something I'm doing wrong?
That's interesting. I haven't come across it myself. What I suggest the best thing to do, if you can drop a ticket in with your logins, I will pop in and have a look over the weekend and see what's happening and work out why. And if it's something that's just your site initially, we'll get it resolved. If it's more than that, and then we'll find out why.
Sure.
I haven't had it before on my sites, so it's a bit of a strange one, really. But there's another tool, and I can't remember what it's called, but I will ask a friend of mine what it is and share it in the group, that you can test your alt images online as well, so you can check that they're working right.
Excellent.
Just
I was just checking to see how it was. I'd done some spin. I'd spun out the different context and all the rest of it. I thought I better check how they're looking, and it didn't come up. And then I put in just normal one-liners, and it still didn't come up. So I'll work with you on that. I'll make you a little video to show you that as well. My other question obviously was a bit like Lynn's with the spreading like a wave. So we're looking at 10, 20 mile radiuses, or 30-mile radiuses besides 10, 20 miles apart as a
if we
sweeping generalization.
If we base this on renting the sites out initially, and I know some of you want to get into lead generation and use products like Lead Simplify and things like that, and that's fine, but we don't. The idea of this is to get you started and get you building sites and get you understanding Magic Page plugin. They're the main things for this product. So it's really, you start on a smaller area. So if I showed Croydon an example. Let's say Croydon, it's at the area of Croydon. Let's say it was 20 miles from one end of Croydon to the other as an example. Then from the central location of Croydon, bang in the middle, you do a 20-mile radius. And then you say to Mr. Croydon, how far out do you want to travel? And he says, well, I travel 100 miles. All right, and you go, okay, well, you're renting my site at the minute for $300 a month. I can give you these locations that are 100 miles around Croydon, right? And there's 5 of them, and each extra one is going to cost you this much more. So before long, they've gone from $300 maybe to $800 to get those extra areas, and then you simply go into the back end and you create those pages for those locations.
And will I do that by creating a second group in the physical pages?
Correct.
Second group, and then I'd have one group for Croydon, one group for whatever, Brentwood, where I am, or whatever. And then they'd be on the same site, but different groups, and each group would have its own radius set. So that's how I get the overlap on the same domain name, but with multiple locations. Yeah.
The reason you do groups is if you had to go back, and let's say you wanted to update the Magic Page, but you only wanted to add an update to the Magic Page that covered Croydon, you can then go to the Croydon group and rewrite the pages, right? By adding one, you add one piece of text on the Magic Page that says, "We all love Croydon" in big letters, and then you regenerate the Croydon pages only in the Croydon group, and then another page you'll go and you say, "I want to put." So, there's a bit of news in Croydon about plumbing. I'm going to put a little article at the bottom purely for the Dartford people. And so that's why we group them up.
So if I could extrapolate that, I could have a Croydon client working in a radius of Croydon on the same domain. I could have Dartford's a little bit to the east, isn't it? So I could have a Dartford client, and I could have my Croydon client overlap with my Dartford client.
Yes. And so in between Christmas and the New Year, I'm putting some super exciting training together for Magic Page plugin. And what that's going to do is show you location sets. right? And what the idea of that is, you'll be able to very simply go in and set up a different phone number, business name,
That was my next question.
right?
Go with
And
my
things
sets.
and things like that, without actually. So you generate all your pages for a certain mile radius from the central location. And let's just say that you did a big site for London and it included Dartford and Croydon, but Mr. Dartford wants to rent that section from you. You'll be able to go in and do a set where it changes the phone number for that mile radius to Dartford. It'll change the business name. It'll change the address, and everything can be changed really easily in location sets.
Okay, so let me interrupt here for a second. For one, we got to watch the time, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's already past 5, but for two, Chris, you're a real smart thinker in how you can work the tool. The tool can handle it if you can individually handle it on how you're thinking and how you're going to set it up. The next thing I'll say to you is, for some people that don't want to get into all of that, simplify it to this. If I'm an electrician and I need a website, and I want a website that's going to cover my general service area. Let me step back from electrician. Let's go to a house painter, because I can give you a better way to describe this. A house painter, like in my area in Florida, would want to paint the houses that are $500,000 to $1 million. Those are the houses that he wants. He doesn't want the $100,000 houses, the little small houses that they can barely afford to paint. So he wants the areas for his business to be on the expensive clients. So I create my sites for the painter to be in the area of the high-end homes. And that radius around that area is what I would focus on to rent to that client. So in a simplified term, you pick the area that you can rent the best and make the most money for the rental in many cases. So the client is only going to go so far, is what I'm going to say to you. 30, 60 kilometers or 30 to 60 miles is a max range for almost any service industry. They don't want to travel hundreds of miles to do a job. So if you come back and simplify it to, they're only going to go so far, and my business is, I just want to rent the site to one client. Now, as these sites develop and you get into lead gen, then you start getting into where you can physically have one page go to one client, and he pays for all the leads that come from that particular page. There's all kinds of things we can do strategy-wise. But for those that are just getting started, keep it simple in your mind. You only want to rent a site to a client that's going to work in that area. And for those that are seeing beyond the horizon of, I can physically rent every single page to a different client with a different phone number. Yes, you can, but it takes the time to set that up. So I'm trying to keep it simple.
On another point, for those that want more advanced, an advanced group training, in January, I am planning on doing a Zoom call. So to get a rough idea, if guys can drop a support ticket in saying you'd be interested in a more advanced course, then I can respond to you guys in what you might be looking for, and then we'll book in a separate training session on those things on a live call where I can answer your questions as well and bring you on more advanced techniques. I don't want to do it in the main group because we got a lot of people, we got a lot of members in who are starting out in this, and I don't want them feeling overwhelmed. I want them to feel like I've built a website and I've got going. So I'm certainly happy to do that for our members.
Can I ask just one more question on a different tangent? Yeah. Branding. Electricians gets talked about a lot. So would we be looking at having like Chris's Electricians Dartford, Chris's Electricians Watford, Chris's Electricians Croydon, or domain names just pick up whatever flows?
I got domain names that aren't even related to the niche that are out there.
I was just going to say
Google used to
doesn't
care.
have to be a name. Branding can be 3 generic symbols, like
free TS, for an example.
Yeah,
electrical. 1D2 or something. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a specific company name or what you would think, like Coca-Cola as a brand. But anyway, it's
It becomes a brand,
Don't
you
even
see.
get hung up on the brand, because brands are really liked by Google for the ranking. But in the same point, you want to diversify. You want to have brands. You want to have EMDs, the exact match domains in some cases, and you want to have, the domains that don't mean anything, and always compare what's ranking and what's not.
When you set up your like let's say it was free T electrical in an area, right? And what you want to do is set up 1 or 2 or 3 social media pages. So Facebook, Twitter, maybe another one. And in the bio section, fill in as much as you can and put the URL in the bio section as well, if it'll let you. That way then, free T electrical will be found on Facebook, Twitter, maybe LinkedIn. Yeah. And those together will help Google. Google will go, okay, there's a new free T electrical now in Dartford. Have they got any social media channels? Oh, they have, and they've been putting a few posts up. And I've got training coming up soon, which I'm just waiting on this build. Our devs are finalising the build of the blog site to be put into the PBN. And with that blog site, what will happen? Then you have your money site, you have blog sites, and then social media. And we've got a plugin that automatically, when you post on your money site, will bounce it all the way down. All right, and then so that way then you don't have to worry about generating content for your social media, because it'll be done automatically down the chain of command.
Like it.
So and that all helps. That's why I say to people, do not get a GMB until you've got some sort of citations online and social media accounts, because GMBs will stick. Google My Business listings will stick 10 times longer if you've got the backing. It's like building a house. You wouldn't just go, right, let's stick a house on that bit of grass over there and I'll put the foundations on top. It's just not done. Build your foundations first, because then the business itself will stay solid with the domain name.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for your time. Perfect.
No problem. Let's change the spotlight.
Thanks for all your feedback, Chris, by the way, too.
Yeah.
It helps
Now,
everybody.
just before we bring Bob in, what I'm going to do very quickly is say goodbye to people on the channels that on Facebook, because I forgot to take them off on the other channels. We'll stay in the Inner Circle group, but I'm just going to switch some. I'll bring Bob in while I switch him off as well. Add him to Spotlight. Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Oh, you're not echoey today. You're sounding good.
How's my headphone? Better?
Yeah, perfect, buddy.
Stephen, have you
Perfect.
checked your messages, by the way?
Not recently. I've been busy
No,
on
I meant
calls all
Stephen. I meant
day.
Stephen.
Oh, sorry.
Have you checked your messages,
My messages from.
just in case? We were supposed to have a couple other people that were supposed to join. Maybe they messaged.
No, it's okay. The person who's joining will be in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I've said to them, don't rush, so it's okay.
All right.
So while I switch off some social media channels, Bob, how can we help you?
Well, I may have rented a site today.
Hey!
I was making calls and I have somebody very interested, but some of the things we've been talking about and this situation has raised some questions in my mind. One of them is that it's a site that has citations. Why do I put citations on a site that I might be renting out and then I have to go and change all the citations later?
Right, okay. The reason you do citations ultimately is because if that person ever leaves you, you can switch it back. All right. The citations aren't going to do any harm being sat there.
You own the domain, right?
I own the domain, yes.
You do not give them the domain.
I'm not, but I offered to change issues on the site, some of them being pictures, which brings me to the other topic of alt tags and descriptions, because they're different. They'll be his. The citations for the site are related to the business name. He wants business name changed as well as phone numbers.
And that's cool as well. It's not a problem, because ultimately, will he add it to his? Will he add the site to his GMB himself?
Well, this all started on a GMB call, which he hasn't claimed or listed. And I called him and said, look, you haven't claimed it or optimized the site at all. And he said, oh, well, how do I do that? I said, I'll take care of it. But the other thing you're going to need is a website. Are you interested in renting one? Because we talked about costs and that. And he said, yes, I'm interested. So that's where it all came from. And then I got thinking, well, I've got this all set up on my address, on my GMB, which I already put there. And now I'm going to be changing it all.
Bob, do you know the best way to do this?
No.
You get another domain name.
Okay.
You clone the site over to it, all right? And then you whip through all your citations and update the URL on those citations you've already done.
For me, I build another site for me and move everything over.
Yeah, or the other way to look at it is because has this guy got any citations himself?
We didn't get into that, and I don't think so. He doesn't have a website. Oh, yes, he does, because you can look for him on Yelp and other sites. He does have.
So what you want to do, you want to become a manager. You want to say to him, I need to be a manager of all your other citations, right? Okay. Because what you're going to be doing for him is you're going to be setting those citations up to a domain, all right? And that will probably be the domain name you've shown him. And so while you're doing that, you can do it. This is how I would do it personally, because you're going to rent the site out to him. Right, you rent the site out to him, and you add that domain name to all of his citations, right? And then set another URL up, and change the URL on your citations to become that one as well.
First of all, Bob, I gotta say it. I just gotta say this. I'm very disappointed that the customer didn't call you first.
Well, I'm unique. I'm actually reaching out to people.
But it's just taking action and making the phone call. But the first one that called you, that's a story breaker, right there. But great, that's taking action, Bob. They're just picking up the phone and calling them,
Well, this actually came. Sorry.
The other thing I was going to say, the alt tags and descriptions don't have to have the company name, don't have to have the phone number. They have to have the information about the niche. So if you're in an electrical site, the alt tags and description can be keywords about electrical things. So you don't have to change them if you rent the site to some other. It's going to be in the same niche. They're going to be in electrical. So
the reason you put information on the images is eventually they can end up under the image tab on the Google search engine, right? And sometimes people like go when they're doing search things, having a quick look at images, and the amount of companies that don't bother putting images up. They just don't bother, and so by chance they see a picture of a bloke with a hard hat on and a screwdriver, and they click on that image that takes it through to the site. Next minute they're looking at your site and they go, okay, he's got images, he's got this, he's got that. Majority of people, to be honest, are super lazy. They want to simply search on their mobile phones or on a computer in Google, find a business, get a phone number and call them, or fill in a form. They're the two main things they want to do. And that's what generates the leads. So, straight away, without even properly ranking that site you're talking about, Bob, right? That guy not only wants his GMB fixing, but also as an upsell, you offer to fix all his citations for him.
Okay.
Congratulations, Bob. That's encouraging.
Always think on don't give away too much. So your front, if you're going to do your front end, and this is what I did. When COVID hit. And I've told this story before, that I was in the entertainment industry, renting out sites. I was making thousands of pounds a month. COVID hit, and everything went. And I'll be honest with you, I went into my partner and I sat on the sofa and I broke down in tears. She said, "Why are you upset?" I said, "All the money's gone each month, and the money's coming in each month. It's gone. It's all gone because of COVID." And her business took off, and I had to work for her, packing up clothes. It drove me mad. And during that time, I rebuilt my business and started up again with other niches that I knew would be more solid. Even now, the entertainment industry is totally broke in the UK. So I'm focusing on other areas, and I'm doing what you're doing, but I'm picking up the phone. I'm saying to people, I see you haven't got a website. Do you want to rent one? But at the start of COVID, I did the $50 website. The people couldn't believe how cheap they were. $50 websites. And it was only for their little towns, but I did loads of them. That then bought in $500, then $1,000, and then $2,000, and it built up. And I wasn't even ranking these. I was just saying, here's a website. You need a website. Would you be interested? And I love your model as well, Bob, where you say, I see your GMB's not optimized. How do I optimize it? Well, and by the way, you need a website. And while you're at that, you're going to need citations. And while you're at that, you're going to need this, 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 and this. And I could do the whole package for $800 a month or $1,000.
That's
and
half
they'll
of what
spend
I
the
have.
money with you. You know,
That's
once you get your
twice, I
foot,
should say.
once you get your foot in the door with company A, and they start trusting you, they'll spend more money with you.
Okay, thank you.
You know, and that's why you'll find with me that when I send an affiliate offer out to people, my email list, I do it once in a blue moon, because I don't believe in sending out a load of old crap in the emails to you guys. So you'll see, I had someone message me the other day going, how come you aren't emailing us offers every week like everyone else? I will only send out what I really believe in and I know that works. I will not send out an email for something that's a load of rubbish. And that's why once every 6 months, you'll see me put an email out saying, this is worth looking at.
Okay,
So
awesome.
Colin,
And the reason I made the call was because of what you told me, Stephen, where the leads were coming in and it was ringing through, and I called to see if they wanted leads, and we got talking about websites and everything.
just a call, isn't it?
Yeah, just a call.
Awesome, Bob. I'm going to be doing some interviews with you soon for case studies.
Stephen, we're going to run out of time, and we have
right. Let's squeeze in quickly squeeze in Colin and Kurt, and then after that we got a guest to bring on. So we'll add to Spotlight. Hello, Colin.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. How are you doing?
All right. I'll be brief. One question and 2 quick comments. Have I missed it? What do we do for cloning our Evergreen site? Or has that been covered yet? So
to clone it, the first part, obviously you would have done a backup in WP Vivid. Now, the only reason I haven't, and I will add the video soon on how to do a restore, but we wanted people to be building the sites initially and learning to use the file in the members area over and above a WP Vivid file. And the reason I say that is you don't want a WP Vivid file that's a few months old being restored, because you could end up with a backup that's out of date, a plugin that's out of date, or a theme that's out of date, or something out of date somewhere. Yeah. So someone's phone's ringing. So what I'm going to do is, and it is on my board to go through the right procedure on doing a restore with WP Vivid onto another domain name. But there's a part that I want to add to it. I'll try and get it done over the weekend before we officially sort of have a break with the family, where it's the bit about saying do a fresh backup in WP Vivid and then restore it onto the new domain there and then. And that's a better way of doing a quick transfer. There's a few things to go into to explain. For example, if you set a site up, let's say in Dartford, right, and you then do a backup and move it to another domain name, let's say in Manchester, it's going to have in the background all of those locations for Dartford. Yeah. So it's actually better to be honest, to do a fresh install of WordPress, install the theme file, and then upload the data files like we show you in the training, because you'll get a fresh install of the site without any locations in it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, just 2 quick comments. As far as alt tags is concerned, I would certainly recommend just making the alt tags and title the words that people search for. So it'll be electrician, Salford, or whatever it is. Just on sort of size of sites and locations of sites. While you were talking, I was looking. Dartford has 100,000 population. To me, that's probably ideal for one site. Croydon has 384,000 people with 20 districts. Now, Belfast, which is closer to me, has 200,000 population. I would be doing at least 3 sites for Belfast, maybe 4, north, south, east, and west. And I would have thought Croydon could probably cope with 3 or 4 sites for all the surrounding areas.
Great point, Colin. In fact, you bring up another topic that we could spend a couple hours on in the filtering of your database, which you know, we can over examine these things to death, but we have to, and I appreciate that very much, Colin, because it brings up the whole big topic again of you got to start with something. And as you start with the basics and grow forward, then you can get into more filtering and refine the filtering and refine your locations and really then start to pick the cream of the crop, so to speak. I mean, again, MPP is so flexible and there's so many different ways you can spin this. It'll drive you batty, but you got to start with the basics to then get to those points. I mean, think about that conversation to somebody that has never built a website before, and you tell them they can go in and create 250 different location pages, and then they can have 250 different phone numbers on those pages with 250 different company names, and you can rent all these individual you are going to tell them there's no way in hell I'm going to do that. That's what they're going to hear in their own mindset. So you have to start with the basics, build it with one phone number, build one location, and grow with the topic of what we're talking about. This is very powerful. And in the same point, you know, the same analogy I use over and over again, when we buy a car, we don't care how the engine's put together. We just want to put gas in it and drive it. But if we start taking apart the engine, we may not be able to put it back together. So learn the basics, build the foundations, build the sites, and make those initial mistakes. Right?
I do love those comments that you're saying to us, Colin. That you know, Dartford as a good example is a site on its own, and you build a site there, and it can be down to population. You know, that's awesome comments, awesome feedback. And if people want to replay this back, it's in our inner circle mentoring group. This whole meeting is going to stay in there where you can watch the replay. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
Let's switch over.
Oh,
Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say I probably could take an engine apart and rebuild it again because
I'm sure you could.
Yeah,
one of my few qualifications.
But if you could drive a car and get paid per mile for driving it without worrying about the nuts and bolts, I think that'd be good for everyone. Thank you as always. Right, we'll squeeze Kurt in and then we'll bring our other guests on. Let's bring into. Let me just find the spot. Yeah, we can hear you. I can't bring you into spotlight because you haven't got your camera on, but that's cool. You talk.
Okay. Well, thanks for the Zoom call here. It's been very informative. Lots of notes.
Yeah.
Couple of questions. When building a PBN, can Google track the owner of the domain to detect what's going on?
If you do it as a do privacy on the domain.
Okay.
All right. Now, there's two things I do. Right. I like to have 2 or 3 different host accounts, registrars, right? And then I will register different domains in each of them, purely on the point of view that then you can mix it up a bit. But personally, I've got a friend at Google. I've asked a similar question. With domain privacy, they can't tell who owns that domain name.
Okay.
So you've got nothing to really worry about. And secondly, comes down to what I say with a single niche PBN is you have your money site, and we're gonna like in the first part of the build, I said a directory site, and in the next part of the build I'm finishing off is going to have a blog site, and then you can have it along the bottom row. You can have your social media accounts. You build one triangle out on your central site, your money site, and then eventually you'll build another one to that side, no one up there, and you have 4 triangles all the way around your money site for that one site to give it a boost. All right, now it sounds a lot of building, but for long-term purposes it'll help boost your site, but don't build it in a week. You know, take your time, because Google won't, will be saying, oh, there's a site with some information on about that one, and then when you build your next site, if you to be really honest, also I've done this already. You can get away with 1 PBN per site initially. Mike Martin talks about multiple PBNs around it to give you more of a boost. I normally, the way I do things now is I chuck a site up on a domain, I pick an area and I leave it up, right? And then I go and do another one. Then I go and do another one. I build 10 of them and I leave them. And then I give it a few days and I go and look at Google to see which ones are being found naturally. And the ones that are being found naturally are the ones you want to build a PBN to. And if they get a good boost and you realize they are, build another PBN. And if they get an even better boost, build another PBN and end up with 4 all the way around, and keep those 4 to that one money site. And that way, then you get away from the danger of then, like if you had one in Dartford and then one in Croydon, and you put the Croydon information on the Dartford one, unless you are doing a recommendation, that can cause a problem. Now, when I say recommendations, I mean electrician site here in Croydon, plumber site over in Dartford. Mr. Plumber's recommended Mr. Electrician. He puts a post up saying, hey, check out Mr. Electrician over there. Here's his phone number. He did a great job for me. That's okay. But if you had 10 plumber sites and they're all recommending each other, I think it's a bit sus. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think we have to move on, Stephen.
Is that all good for you, Kurt?
Well, I had one more question. Let me.
Yeah, go
it.
on.
A quickie.
Yeah, that's okay.
Where'd it go? Oh, can you actually build a GBM for a site in an area you don't live in? Can it be verified?
Yes, it can. And you're going to love the training that's coming out in the new year. Okay. I've got some training I've got lined up on my board for January. I've been waiting for a particular product, and I can give away the information now. There's a product that Keith Best released, and it's in his toolkits, and I'm trying to get a deal out of him for our group members as well, for those that didn't pick it up. And it's being released officially over the weekend. And when it's live, I'm going to do some testing that can help you find domain names that have expired to Google My Business listings. That's the first step. And the other step is I've got a friend of mine in Google who's shown me last week a good possible way of generating Google My Businesses and verifying them, right, and getting to keep them, right, where you don't live in that area. And I'm testing it at the moment to make sure it's reliable. And if it is, you guys are going to have that training.
Excellent. Okay,
so,
thank you.
You're welcome, Kurt. Right. We have a very special guest coming in. She is a lady who is a business partner, life partner, amazing lady. For those that know of Dave Stowers, who is a group member who passed away, a good friend of mine. Sarah is his business partner. And Sarah, can you just raise your virtual hand so I can find you?
I'm right here.
No, on the bottom of the screen.
On the reactions, if you raise your hand.
Oh,
raise
sorry.
hand.
Okay.
Find the hand that says raise hand.
I don't have a hand. Oh wait, I got it. Okay.
And now it brings you up to the top. You see?
Hey, now,
okay, so
and we can add you to spotlight.
Who the tag person was in this partnership. Yep.
So this is Sarah, and I'll let Sarah do the rest of the intro because she's an amazing lady, and I've got to know her really well. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi guys. Wow. So if this might get tough, if it does, I might step away for a second and then come back. But I wanted to share with you guys some things about Dave. Can you raise your real hands if you guys got to know him at all? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Okay, so Dave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about our background and some things about Dave maybe you didn't know, and some wisdom that he is passing on even now that he's passed to the other side. So, and some things that I've learned from him that I think would apply to everybody. And so I wrote down some notes so that I wouldn't forget to talk about some things. But Dave is, I still can't talk about him in past tense. But for those of you who know or didn't know, he passed away at my home, and I was the one who found him and did CPR. And anyway, so I'll get to that in a second. But just a little bit about Dave and why I'm here and why it makes sense for me to be here. But Dave and I met about 3 years ago in a different lead generation group here in the United States. And at the time he was bringing on people who wanted help with tech. And so I was one of those people. I was like one of his agency partners and wanted to learn a lot about tech. But it turned out that he was actually looking for his own partner to do social. So if you know anything about Dave, or if you ever brought it up, Dave unfortunately had like PTSD really bad from the military, and also another like life experience from a job that he had, and it was a freak accident that somebody had. He felt responsible for it, and he wasn't, but he felt like it. Anyway, so he suffered from PTSD pretty badly, and that caused him to react a certain way in front of certain people. So love him or hate him, Dave was always authentic. You know, he's the real deal. Like if he was upset with you, you would know. If he wasn't, he wasn't. He'd be kind and sweet and generous and socially awkward. But behind a computer screen and doing tech, the guy knew his stuff. Like he really knew what he was doing, and he would help out anybody. If somebody is willing to learn, Dave would be right there. And I think Stephen and Robert would both attest to that, right? Yeah. So early on, Dave had me promise, we formed a partnership almost 3 years exactly. Actually, it was 3 years exactly to the day that he died. But we formed an LLC together, and he made me promise early on, if something ever happens to me, please, just make sure you watch over my kids. Okay. Just the reason I'm building my business with you, Sarah, is like, I want to build a big empire. And then I want to make sure my kids are taken care of, because he had gotten divorced and his kids are with his ex, who's not the same kind of parent that he was to his kids. I'll just put it that way, to be diplomatic and nice. But anyway, so Dave was like super techie and I was super not. I'm like, what in the world do you see in me? Because I don't feel like it's an even partnership, but he wanted to make it even. So that's what we did. And at the time I was newly separated from a husband who, after 30 years of marriage, he started out, I'll say this as nicely as I can, started out very nice in our marriage and our relationship, and over time turned out to be not so nice. And so my son at the time was 17. He had been begging me for years, we got to get away from dad. We got to get away from dad. So we finally did. We moved from Connecticut to Charlotte, North Carolina, and Dave, he came to visit, and like he didn't leave. He basically stayed and lived with us, and it was the three of us getting through our own PTSD, each one of us growing and learning with each other, and we found safety in the friendship that we had, and it grew into be something really cool, which will have a good influence on you guys, I hope. So I was in lead gen 2. And part of what I'm going to do, and one of the reasons I'm here, is to just impart some of the words that Dave had spoken frequently. And if they help you in your business, awesome. If they don't, maybe another way to like add to something. But I'll submit it to Stephen, like a top 10 list from Dave that we could put in the group. But what I want to do is pick things up where he left them and move forward. So what our plan was going to be was to have him build what he's doing with Stephen and Robert and all you guys, and then me from my other side, the other lead gen business, and then bring them together and take off. And the nice thing about Dave is that he waited for me to get over the emotional abuse and the psychological abuse, and so that I could heal from it, because he saw something in me that I couldn't see, and I saw something in him that he couldn't see. But he saw something, and so he waited and he waited. So if you saw him stall ever or whatever, it's because he was waiting for me. And I finally got to that point a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I think I'm finally done with that. Like, I grew up worrying about what people think, being a people pleaser. And I know I'm not alone in this. I know some of you have heard this from your parents, right? You're not smart enough, you're stupid, you'll never amount to anything. Like, whatever baggage you guys have, like, everybody's got something that we have to deal with. And as an adult, we can, put in our big girl pants or big boy pants and for the girls and some men, tighten your ponytail and just like get out there and take control of your own life. And that's what I was learning to do. And that's what Dave was learning to do. So we did some goofy things along the way. And when Dave was on calls with you guys, so this is our command center. And in this room, we have like 9 to 12 monitors and about 4 or 5 laptops at any one time. It's, what is that? The electrical frequency. It's like a nightmare, whatever that is, like the EFT, not EFTs. What is ETFs? No, that's stocks. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, like the frequencies. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's gotta be bad. So see how badly it's affecting me. I don't even know what to call it. Okay, so Dave would usually have a blurry background, right? But in the background, can you see there's a poster over there?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool. So we have a bunch of them. Here's another one. We started putting them up in the bathroom, and it started out with quotes. And over time, and what my son didn't know at the time, but now it turns out, I just found out that he knew, that Dave and I were getting closer and closer. Like, he's like the one person in my entire life that I shared business with, life with, friendship with. Like, we were growing closer and closer. And as my divorce was going to become, like, we behaved. Okay. Kissing and hugging, that's it. But like in January, my divorce is going to be final. And from that point, we were going to like take off and do all of life together. I mean, like January, as in like a couple of weeks from now, like that's how close we were to that. We just bought a house, not a cheap house. So now I'm going to have to, take care of that all on my own. And you know what? It's okay. Like, God's going to show a way. I'm Christian. I'm a woman of faith. And you'll hear me talk on some calls probably that, like, when you feel a prompting, for me, I don't know what it is for you, but for me, I take that as the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is prompting me to say something or do something or not do something, not say something. Anyway, so at the time, we started calling each other Lommel, L-O-M-L, which is love of my life, right? But we didn't want my son to, like, at one point my son heard it. He's like, what was that? I'm like, llama. So so we started calling each other llamas. And so Dave was Llama Teka. I was Llama Teka in training, but you can't abbreviate that. So then I was also Llama Mama. And to Matthew's a big gamer, Xbox, and he wants to go into like voiceovers. So if any of you have connections to gaming and gaming creation and stuff like that, like, he's really good. And he's 6'2", he's a big boy, and he's got a deep voice, and hire him. If you guys want voiceovers for anything, Matthew's your guy. Okay, so anyway, so we're like Llama, and he's Llama Gamer. So now we have this. I want to read you guys a couple of these, okay? This is Llama. I don't know if you can see it. Llama Quotes and Words of Wisdom. And Dave and I had handwriting that was kind of similar. So, but you might be able to see some of his words in there. But he has some good ones. Like I don't know if you guys get to see it. Like you got Dave, the like serious like tech guy. But I'll send some over. But like one of the first things he ever said to me when he was asking for input on something was like, yeah, come on, what you got? And when he said what you got, like my husband never said that to me. Like he was showing me that he was valuing my input, right? Like, and you guys, every one of you has valuable input. You have something to contribute that nobody else does. Like with your life experiences, your health issues, your friendships, your family, your tech experience, your other experience, all that, like all what you have, each one of you have forms a person that nobody else is like. Dave embraced his uniqueness. He embraced his quirkiness. I was nervous to embrace my quirkiness because I'm very quirky. And found out I can be pretty funny, and so can he. And the two of us, when we would go into creative, and I don't know if you ever do this or if you have a partner that you could do this with, but to go into creative, like to start when you're like building your sites and you want to get creative with writing or how you build out your sites or how you can be unique to your audience. One of the things we would do would be wordplay. And with wordplay, it would be like, we would say a word and then try to think of as many songs as possible with that word. And then we would play the songs, like a song, like we went through one day where we just named off words of everything in the room. It's like lamp, Alexa. Oh, sorry, she's doing it. She's responding. Okay, great. So we would say, okay, so that word, so ending, the funny thing is, he wouldn't call, sometimes when we would talk about Alexa, sorry, we would say the girl in the circle. So that's how we refer to her. Just tell the girl in the circle you want to do whatever. So we would do that. So we came up with songs like lamp and desk and table and frame and like whatever we could think, fan. And like she had a song for pretty much every word we had. But he was so funny. Like, is so one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. One of the wittiest people. Like, we could start on this wordplay, and who knows where it would go. Like, and we came up with some great business ideas and things that we would do going forward. And I mean, we're not going to be able to do that now, but like, I might take a picture of some. We have like 4 or 5 of these around, and in the new house, Matthew and I decided that in the entryway, there's like a long hallway in the when you walk in, and it's being built right now. It's supposed to be done in May, but we're gonna do on one wall. We're gonna put 4 of these posters, and like 2 posters, and then we're gonna do a gigantic picture of a photo of a llama or 3 llamas, and then so it's gonna be the llama house, and we're into that. Anyway, that was a sidetrack that I didn't mean to go on, but
No,
anyway.
thank you for sharing, Sarah. I mean, really, not everybody knew Dave, but what I'm going to say.
It's very tough, Sarah, because I got to know Dave very personally. I became amazing friends with him, and I knew his wit. I knew what I loved about Dave the most was how honest he always was with me. He wasn't scared, and I tell my members, if something's not right with what we're doing, right, we're human as well. We're not, yes, we are leading you guys, and we want you to succeed every step of the way. I say we want you guys to succeed, and I always say that to Dave. I want you to succeed, and so when something wasn't right, he would always be honest with me. And sometimes I think I could see in his eye, oh, should I have said that? Sometimes I could see in his eye a little bit. Should I have said that to Steve? And I'd go, no, that's cool, Dave. Yeah, let me make a note of that. Or and I could always say back to him, Dave, I think that's a bit silly. I don't think we should be doing that at all. Or words to that effect. And he was the most loving, gracious guy I could ever get to know. And when I had that message that you sent me, I broke down in tears for a few days. Every time I saw Dave, because he is such a decent guy, and he, like me, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's why I think we got on so well. And and like everyone here, I want to welcome you into our family group of Defiers. And we want you to be successful, and we'll make sure you are, so that you can supply what you need to do for his kids.
We're sorry for your loss too.
Yeah, thank you. And he became my best friend, like on the morning that he passed. So what happened was I got about 10 minutes more. Is that okay?
That's okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't want to shortchange Dave, but I don't want to go on. I don't want you guys to be bored though either. So there's some stuff in here that's going to be good. Okay. Even if you get just one piece out of it, maybe it's something that's going to help you like just take off where you're going to go. But I know you guys' inner circle is different than the general public of your group, right? You guys are the action takers mostly, pretty much, right?
They're all action takers, every single one.
Yeah, if you weren't, you wouldn't be in the inner circle, right? So,
correct.
But maybe this would help you if you have teams of people or things like that. Anyway, well, Dave helped me like over the past 3 years that we've been here recovering, and he helped Matthew, and we both helped Matthew, and I helped Dave, and we grew. Like, we all grew so much. But like I'm sure I know you guys know, like there's life beyond lead generation, right? And even with the people you're helping and the sites you're building, it's like there's a human on the other side of that. Like there's a business owner. You don't know what problems that business owner is going through right now. Like you might want to be selling something, but if you can figure out what their problem is and get them to verbalize it instead of you, like instead of I don't know how you guys all operate, but like instead of the shiny, like, hey, I got this, this snake oil I want to sell you, like, you want it? But like finding out where their need is and then speaking to the need because you have a solution, because business owners want more than anything are leads, right? And they just want to get marketing people calling them all the time. So if you're the one who can help them solve the problem and you get them to verbalize what their problem is, well, then it makes it so much easier. But anyway, what happened was in mid-November, my son's best friend came down from Virginia, it's a 4-hour drive, and he was coming to stay for 2 weeks. And the day after he got here, his mom called him and said, hey, Devin, I have COVID. And Devin was like, shocked. I'm like, well, Devin, you have to stay now. I mean, you're quarantined now. In the US, you're quarantined for 14 days, so you have to stay. And Dave was like the guy who's like always behind the computer screen. Or he would fall asleep behind the computer screen. He would like sleep, and just off the office here, there's we converted the living room to an office with a giant table, and just off is a den, and we call that the comfy room. So there's a couch in there. Sometimes he'd sleep there, sometimes he'd be upstairs with me. Like anyway, but he wasn't like always like interacting with people. He didn't really like to go out a lot. He just, because of the PTSD and being in recovery, he wanted just to be close where he felt safe. So Matthew got COVID next, and he's got autoimmune issues and Lyme disease for 8 years. And so he was laid out in bed for like 2 weeks, and he could hardly lift his head from the pillow. I had to take him to the ER twice. This is Matthew, my son, for hydration in the ER, and then medication. Like, he was shaking, and I felt so bad for Matthew. He was so sick. And sometimes people would ask me like, Sarah, don't you think you're going to get sick? I'm like, nope. I've got mom immunity. I'm good. You know, so like and that mindset is huge too. So like when you're committed to what your outcome is, like, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. But I did have the vaccine too, so I'm sure that helped. But then eventually Dave started coughing, and he started getting sick. And so that was like on a Thursday. That would have been the 27th of November. And he got like a fever, but only like in Fahrenheit degrees is like 99, maybe 99 and a half at the most. And then he said, I'm like, maybe we should get you tested. So we did. Like the next day, like I got an appointment, but like it was a 45-minute drive to get to the testing site. I said, well, Dave, we can go, you know, tomorrow to this location, 45 minutes, or we can wait one more day and go, and it will take 5 minutes. And he's like, the drive sounds nice. Because I was driving, like it would be time with us, just the two of us together. So we did. So we drove the hour and a half, 2 hours wait, you know, like total. And we had that drive, and that was on that Friday. And then Saturday, he got his result back. It was positive. And then over the next few days, he had some breathing, like shallow breathing. And I want to show you guys this picture. So this picture was taken right when we formed the LLC, but you can tell like we already knew each other. Within a month of knowing Dave, he knew me better than my husband knew me after 26 years. Like 3 weeks, like just being on video, Zoom, like training and stuff like that. Like we weren't intimate at that point, like, but like anyway. So you guys remember Dave? Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was when we only this was taken on December 3rd, 2018. And December 1st was Wednesday, and that's when he passed. But anyway, so so shallow breathing. I'm like, you seem to have shortness of breath. And he said, no, it's just if I take a deep breath, I cough. So I'll take slow breaths. I'll take slow breaths. And he was just quiet. He didn't go to your one of the calls that you got. I'm like, don't you have a Stephen call or Magic Page call or something? And I'm not doing it today. That was on a Monday. Do you guys have a Monday call?
I had a call booked with him for the Monday, and he messaged me to say that he wasn't feeling great and can we postpone it? And I went, get better soon or something like that. And we left it at that. And then the next message I had was from you.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. So
don't apologize.
Yeah. Well,
do you know something I say a lot in life, right? And I say this to everyone, Sarah. Life gets in the way, right?
It does. Yeah.
So if you can take those moments when life's not getting in the way to focus on your business and build the foundations to get to where you want to be in life with your business, right? Ultimately, then the things that get in the way become smaller because your business takes that pressure away from you as you start making the money you want to make to have the nicer things in life and take the pressure off your life, you know. And every step of the way, whenever I spoke to Dave, I always happy to give him direction. He always gives me feedback. Truly amazing guy.
He was always there to help somebody
everybody
else.
Yes.
And I would just say to the group that you come around and let's support Sarah. We support everybody in the group the same anyways. If somebody needs help in the Defiers group, they get help. New people coming in don't know that, but we take this very serious. We always want to make sure, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's little things like Stephen was just saying, the things that come up in life that send people in a different direction and they don't know how to get back on track. You know, the inner circle community is about supporting one another, asking the questions you need to ask. It's not about Stephen and I, it's about all of you. The group is for all of us to build on, work together, support each other. And it may someday not even be about building a website. It may be about, Sarah, what can we do for you to help you with something, you know? And I just ask that the inner circle, the fires, new people, that we always support new people coming in anyways, but that's what the group is for. And that's what's the most important.
I've always
Steve and
seen
I don't hide. We come out, we share we're very transparent in what we do. And we want to help everybody to achieve their goals. But in this just brings it to light. Life is too short. Things happen too fast. Take those moments to support the families, but also ask for help when you need it and support others that need it when they do.
I have a whiteboard behind me and it has a few things on it. The number one important thing to me at the very top is my family and my kids. All right, and I've got photos on the wall and stuff and what have you. And then below, next to that, is the list of hard tasks and a list of easy tasks. Right, and I've shared this before. I've got fibromyalgia. I'm in pain. I don't ever want anyone feeling sorry for me over that, because there's people worse off in life than me. You know, I like to be very positive, and so when I'm having a really bad day, I do my easy list. And when I'm having a crap day, I do when I'm having a crap day, I do the easy list. And when I have a hard day, a better day, I do the easy list, if that makes sense. And you know, and so yeah, when I'm having a fantastic day, that's when I do all the hard stuff. And the thing is with this project that we're doing here, the DFY themes, if something's not right, and we've got people in the group who will know that we've done this, right, and said this isn't quite right, or something's not working right, we either jump on a call with them to fix it, or we get the solution to the problem, get our devs to fix it, and then we update the main file in the group for everyone. Right, and that's what this is about. Yeah, I always say we're human at the end of the day. We want you guys to succeed, and errors do happen. We always hold our hands up to it, but we will get these issues fixed. We do not hide from that. You know, there's so many products out there now that are released. 6 months later, they're gone, and someone spent $500 on it, and goodbye. We're here for the long haul. You know, I've got a 5-year plan straight away in the system to support all the hosting, all the products, build more, keep growing. And that's the 5-year plan. And we've got funds in there to do that. And that's what I believe in with this project. And we want to get everyone to the same place where they're doing really well. And that was my plan with Dave as well, that Monday meeting was me having a chat with him about where he's at. And also, I still don't know what it was, and we'll have a private chat about this, Sarah. But I know he was going to talk to me about something else he had in mind, and so we just want everyone to grow. And hats off to you, because it's not easy to come on and talk to a group of people.
No, absolutely.
I think I'll save the top 10 list for another, maybe in the beginning of the year. I think that will be good. But there are a couple quick things I want to say. Oh, but by the way, for the Done For You themes, I like to write content, and I've been pretty decent at it over the years. I've been doing it for a long time, like in different jobs.
We'll have a chat about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll talk about how I might be able to contribute that way to that, and I would love to do that. So because I gotta say this part. The morning, okay, so the breathing, he said it was a shallow breathing, not shortness of breath. Temperature only went up to 99.5, and that's like nothing. And my son's symptoms were much worse, and he ended up in the ER. So Dave was a little bit weak, having some weakness. He needed some help, like walking, to get to the bathroom. But like, that was it. Like, he's like, I'm okay. But that morning, Wednesday morning, Dave was in the habit, I don't know about you guys, how techie you are, but Dave's normal hours would be to be sleeping from 10 in the morning to like 2 in the afternoon. And then he would be awake all night long. And Stephen, I'm sure, can attest to this because Dave would have a conversation with him and Stephen would be getting up for the day. And for Dave, it was like 4 in the morning and that was like normal. So it was like 6 or 6:30 in the morning and he was already in bed and I came in next to him. And because I had been working on another project because I adopted the tech hours because that's just how it worked out. Anyway, I was looking at something. I had these, I don't need to show you really, but all these Post-it notes that I had. Sometimes when I have a brainstorm, like I'll just put all my thoughts on different pieces of Post-it note and put them on a big poster board. And then I can go back and reorganize them. And that's how I get creative. And this particular time I had like 10 orange construction paper card things. And I had like 10, 15 Post-it notes on each one. So I was sorting through them. I was looking through them. He's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm looking at my avatar again. And I'm embarrassed to say this to you guys because you guys are all top producers, right? So, but I'll just be transparent. I'll just tell you where I am because then you'll know. So as sort of, he's like, you don't need to do that. I'm like, but you know, I just want to refine my avatar more. I want to know like my ideal person. And he said, Sarah, you are your avatar. He's like, you're 1 minute you're like here, and the next minute you see like this really awesome program, a shiny object, and you go over there like, this is it. And then you go over to that program, and then you go over to this one, and then like, there's so many things that you want to do, Sarah, and you're creative and you do this like, but you're not. Just stop. You just stop. Take something and focus. What do I do when I focus on something? I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, well, when he comes downstairs, he goes right to the computer and sits down, and he's like this on the computer. And what do? I feed the dog, I do this, and I'm scattered. And plus coming out of this marriage it's rough, like when you're used to people pleasing your whole life, like to switch and learn how to be authentic and be you and like that. It's like, anyway, we all have our different battles. But anyway, so on that morning, it's like, you're too scattered. And I'm like, but I can't be my avatar. Like my avatar is a small business owner, like home services. And he's like, and you are? And I said, well, a small business owner. I'm like, but wait, but these people have like a specific problem with generating leads. And he goes, and you are? Like every objection I threw at him could be answered myself with me. Like he was right. He was exactly right. And the lesson with that. So that was our last conversation that we had. And sorry,
It's okay. Take your time. It's okay.
I had, I'm not getting emotional, but give me an hour. Give me an hour and I probably will be. But I had throat cancer 7 years ago and they did radiation, like blasted my whole head because they couldn't find the primary source. So now I have some salivary glands that they took out that I always have dry mouth. So whenever I do public speaking, I'm always having something with me. But anyway, so we had that talk. We talked a little bit about gifts and talents, what his were, what mine were. And then I was in and out of the room a couple times because I was getting ready for a coaching call that I was doing, being on the receiving end. And Dave's friends with the guy who was doing the coaching. And right before that coaching call, I went back in the bedroom to grab a different shirt because I was going to be on video. I wanted a different top, whatever. Like I was changing my clothes all the time, which is another like procrastination thing. And Dave came up with a new word. If I was doing something procrastinating, like, but it was like work related, but just not on task, he called it procrastivity. So that's one of his new words was procrastivity. I spent too much time with that. But anyway, so when I went upstairs, thank God I did. I went upstairs to go get a different top and Dave was laying on the bathroom floor and his eyes were still open and he was looking up like this. And that was like where I would come in. And at first I thought he was joking, right? But I screamed his name and I knelt down beside him and I didn't even try to check a pulse first. I'm like, I don't want to waste your time checking a pulse. So I started CPR, screaming for my son and over I kept screaming. And he had been asleep with headphones on down the hall. But he came down. It probably only took him 20 seconds, but it seemed like 3 minutes, right? And so he called 911 and the lady on 911 was with me and I kept like doing the CPR, I did mouth to mouth and nothing was working. And like, It seemed like a half an hour for the paramedics to come, but it probably wasn't that long. And they worked on it for like an hour and they couldn't do anything. And it really, okay, I can do this. The lesson, the thing that
It's okay, take your time.
yeah. Well, the
It's
thing
still
is,
it's very tough, right? Because it's still raw in my heart. I know it's even tougher for you because you're his business partner and life partner, and you're he used to always talk about you highly, and he used to say to me that he couldn't do things without you, and so I knew how much he cared about you. And so it's never easy, and for those in the group that knew him personally, he reached out to people and he'd help them.
he did.
That's Dave, and he didn't even want anything for it. There's people out there
No.
that they'll go, I'll give you a bit of my time, but I want $500 for it.
Right, he wasn't like that. He was very giving and generous. And so the thing, thank you for that.
It's okay.
The thing that I would always say, like going through cancer treatments and stuff, is like, people complain about whatever they have to complain about and whatever they're going through. And everybody's going through something at one time or other, is to look for the lesson. Like always look for the lesson. When I was getting those treatments, it sucked. Like going in every day, knowing that every day you're going to get sicker and sicker. But you go in anyway. Is to look for the lesson and go through gratitudes, which I haven't done lately, but to be grateful, like for 5 new things, like every day, pick 5 new things before your feet hit the floor, pick 5 new things that you're grateful for. And the more gratitude you have, the more you'll find to be grateful for. And it's the law of attraction. Like it's the same thing about negativity. If you find something to complain about, and you complain about it, then you'll find more things to complain about. And then your whole day is just one complaint after another, and life is never good enough. And my husband was like that. But with Dave, like look for the lesson, like how, and the blessing. And to think that like the last conversation we had was that morning. And he's like, you are your avatar. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he's right. Like, here I am, like trying to make things perfect. And so many people do this. Like, you look for like, okay, before I do this, I got to do this. And in order to before I can sit down and produce, I got to straighten up my desk. Before I can produce, oh wait, I forgot to check out something. Oh wait, you know what? I got to send an email to somebody. And then before you know it, it's 4 hours later, 10 hours later, and you still haven't gotten anywhere. And the thing is like when you keep waiting for it to be right. When I kept waiting to like get my mind right about separating from an abusive husband, and it took 3 years. And I know it's not uncommon for it to take that long, especially having been with the man for a total of 35 years and knowing him for 37 years. Like we've been through, so many life cycle things together. Yeah, just I lost my train of thought. It took too long to like recover. Like, it's like finally I'm like, okay, Dave, Lommel, we just used to call each other Lommel, right? Lommel. Okay, Lommel, my Lommel. Hey, Lommel. I'm like, here I'm I'm finally ready. And then 2 weeks later he died. Like, I know there's a lesson in that, like just, he came up with an acronym for STAY, S-T-A-Y. And as you're looking at the camera, if I was Dave, he like right there is where I would sit. He'd say, stay. I'm like, what? He goes, sit thine ass yonder. Sit thine ass yonder. Like sit in the chair and just like start producing. And my ADD got really bad and his ADD wasn't great either. But together we found a way to make it, all work, and we complemented each other very well. And he was going to be the tech, I was going to be social, and we have skills that cross over each other. And we wrote well together. He wrote me some songs, like he would make up some jingles to songs. And anyway, the man could dance. Like you look at him, that guy's got moves. Well, I mean, he had moves. He was like, anyway, I don't want to go on and on, you guys. I'm sorry, but he just a wonderful human being. And if you were blessed to like have spoken with him and gotten past his shell, the hard shell of I'm an ass, and if you cross me, I'm just going to be a dick to you. Like he'll do that, like if he feels threatened. And so, but if you get past that and you know that there's something else behind that, a beautiful, beautiful person. And so he's going to be.
And I'm so blessed there that I got to know that beautiful person.
Yeah.
Because I could always see that, you know, everybody in our group, right? I know people go through hard things in life. Sometimes we'll get a ticket, and I can always tell that something's going on in that person's life for how that ticket's written, right? And I won't take that personally, because if I did, I would never answer the tickets, you know. So I always go down the route of, you know, if it's in a context that I think they're struggling, then I bounce something back and I'll say, okay, well, how about this? Sometimes if me and Robert aren't answering tickets, we've got another person who does, and they don't get into the emotional side that we do sometimes, because I'm passionate about everyone in our group. So they will reply back in a way that I'll go, oh, I wouldn't have said that, you know, and then I'll hop in on that ticket and put a further comment on just to make sure that everything's okay. And that's why we'll say, if we really, because there's a lot of people in the membership area now. I can't do one-on-one calls every day with everyone, because that's all I'll be doing every day. But when we see a situation where either our tech will jump on and fix the issue for us, or I will hop on a call to give advice because I feel it warrants that, we will always do that, you know. And there's people in the group that will know that we've had calls with them because we felt that we need to just give them a little bit of extra time for whatever reason that may be. And Dave was always like that. You know, when Dave messaged me, can we jump on a call? I go, yeah, certainly. And I'd have a really nice chat with him about life and whatever else. And then we'd talk about work. And, you know, the only downer for me, right, and it's not really a downer because it's still a positive, was the fact that him and I could be on for a good couple of hours when we're meant to be working. But I love that moment, you know.
Yeah. Because he'll not like rush anybody. He'll never rush anybody. Like he would just spend as much time as he needed to with that person, and just, you know, give them whatever it was they needed. And
yeah.
Sarah, I'm not going to take the time, but the chat is an onflowing comment.
I know. Actually, what I just did Control A, Control C, so I can read it later, and I'm putting it into a sticky note.
Sarah, in the bottom corner, there's 3 little dots, and you can click on them and say Save Chat.
Oh, I didn't see those, but I know there's like on some Zoom calls that you can do that, the 3 dots, and you can get a copy of like all the chat. Good. All right, I'll do that.
I didn't want to let it go on.
Zoom doesn't let me do that. I see it.
Yeah.
He would give everybody, like, if he felt like they were worthy of his time, not that he was better than anybody, but just he would work with anybody who wanted to better themselves. And then he would give them as much time as they needed.
We're going to carry on his legacy. We're going to carry on with you, and you're going to do what he said.
And in the new year, right, when we do our meeting, come on and tell us about those top 10 things. Yeah.
10. And I'm gonna do so to honor his legacy and his kids. Make sure they're taken care of. I'm setting up a trust fund for them, and then I'll take a portion of proceeds from all my business that will go towards them. And so,
and I know some people reached out to me and said they, you know, what about flowers and stuff like this, guys. If you do want to do anything, contact Sarah. She set up a trust fund, and I think you said a GoFundMe page as well.
I'll probably do a GoFundMe page, and I'll send you the link. And then in lieu of flowers or anything, his kids are Adrian, 14, Sarah, 16, and a son that came from another marriage, Michael, is 26. But Adrian is the one that gave him the most time. And they had Dave used to be a stay-at-home dad for many years, and then he went back to work, and then the kids went to school, and then his ex-wife raises her voice a lot. I've heard it on calls. But so Dave and Adrian, we have calls twice a week, every week on Zoom, and the middle sister, Sarah, decided she didn't want anything to do with him. And same with the oldest child, didn't want anything to do with Dave. So I'm going to handle the trust proportionately like that, like, because that's what Dave would have done. And whether you agree or not, it doesn't matter, because
No, and the thing, yeah, but the thing with this as well is if I know for those who wanted to donate something, reach out to Sarah because she'll put it into the trust for the kids.
I'll put my Facebook link in the chat for my personal page, and then you could just add me as a friend. But when you add me, please make sure you send a message as well and say, hey, Sarah, I was on the Inner Circle, the DFY call. And then that way, because right now I have, I don't know, like hundreds and hundreds of outstanding friend requests that I haven't.
I know
over
that's
the
like
years. I just like ignore a lot of them. So
I get 20 a day on my account.
Yeah,
which is why I tell everyone raise a support ticket, because I'm going to miss your message. And it happens sometimes where I get all these messages from people and it's whizzing up on all the time. And so support tickets, at least I know that you guys need to get hold of me or Robert. So Sarah, thank you for coming on and sharing everything.
Welcome.
And please come back in the new year when we start back up, and we'll have your top 10 list. And we're gonna work with you and make sure that Dave's legacy continues with this. And it's such a pleasure hearing your story and everything in the run up. And Dave is just such a blessing to all of us. He was always giving in the group, always wanting to help people.
Last thing, if I could just add, when you guys if you send me a message with a friend request, if you have something that you remember about Dave, like something that he said or a way that he helped you, even if he was a jerk, I don't care. Like, just like whatever you remember about Dave, about him as a whole, or something specific he said or a way he helped you, I would love to hear that in the messages. And then the ones that are complimentary, I may share with his son, Adrian, because I think he would like that, because I think Adrian is going to need, he needs a male role model to look up to, as far as like when he starts often, after school, like, what is he going to do for work? Is he going to be an entrepreneur or not? And if you have wisdom that you got from Dave that we could pass to his son and daughter, if she'll listen to him, then I would love to pass those on as well.
Absolutely.
And there'll be a memorial service at the end of January. He wants full military honors in the service. And so that will be at the end of January. In Georgia.
Posted on that, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
And all our love goes out to you, and I'll be in contact with you to get everything set up with what Dave was trying to do. We'll have more talks and we'll move forward with everything for you. But love and blessing to you, and thank you for sharing. I know it's a tough thing to do.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hang out for a little bit, but I'm gonna just.
No, we got 5 minutes to sum up, and
oh, sorry. Oh, gosh, I didn't realize it was that long.
No. We wanted to take this time out, and this is a fitting thing because we're taking a break till the 7th of January from the Friday calls to everyone to wind down, spend time with the family, get drunk if you feel like getting drunk, and chill out. But like I said, don't drive. Yeah, correct. So, but thank you, Sarah. We really appreciate you.
Enjoy your family, everybody. You don't know, you just don't know.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So guys, thank you for staying on and listening to Sarah. Support desk is still going to be open on our break, and myself and Robert, my team member, will get back to you as soon as we can. Obviously, we're celebrating Christmas and taking time off with the family, so please be patient with us if we don't get back to you straight away, but we will see your tickets. So if there's anything important, go to the support desk and raise a ticket rather than send an email, because we'll miss emails. I get a big notification when support tickets come in if you need anything. And we reconvene in January the Friday the 7th at the same time, and I will be setting up a meeting where you'll sign up and it'll notify you through Zoom regularly as a recurring meeting after that. So you won't have to sign up every single time. We are so blessed, both of us, having every single one of you involved with this. And you guys are the action takers. And we just want you to succeed in this and grow, build a business. And in 6 months, 12 months time, we want all those success stories. You know, we never put a proper timescale on anything because Google's an unknown entity. You could put a site up tomorrow and it'd be ranked that day. You could put another site up and it takes 6 months. You can never tell with Google, but we know some tips and tricks. We're going to help you along the way to get those sites where they need to be, even if it's down to renting a site that's not ranked. We'll get you there.
Stephen, let me just say one thing real quick too, because Bob took one of these calls from a week or two ago, I think, Bob Tracks, and he changed out some of the keywords that favored his area. And would you want to comment on that, Bob, at all? I think you had changed out some success in rankings just by changing some of your keywords.
Oh, wrong spotlight. I've hit the wrong button. Where's Bob gone? I'll find him.
Still here.
Raise your virtual hand, Bob. Your virtual hand.
There we go. I've got you. I got him.
Okay, that's true. What I did is I changed out the keywords, not locally specific keywords. I looked for keywords that people were searching for. When I put in the keyword in the city, I saw what was coming up and I looked for ones that were running ads. So I knew they were important because people were running ads on those. And I took 10 keywords based on electricians, as opposed to electrical repair or changing the box or something like that. And I started ranking the site.
So the difference, why I'm bringing you into light of this, is the designs for the Done For You Magic themes are flexible. You guys can change these to anything you want them to be. However, we have to start with a foundation of the services. That's where we start with. And as you get into different areas, different countries, different states, all of the ranking is going to be based on those areas. So it's going to be completely different for, especially like go to the UK and then come back to the United States. It's going to be different. Go from one state to another state in the United States. The rankings are going to be different. So these flexibilities in the keywords, I'll say it like this: the keyword changes are not in the magic form. The keyword changes are after you understand more of the foundations of MPP. And we'll get more into these trainings and how to do this into the new year. But I just want to say to you guys, the way that this has been set up is that it's not a cookie cutter thing that you have to stay with the rest of your life. It's a cookie cutter thing to get you started with, and you can make the changes in the flexibility of how it goes forward. In addition to that, we've already, Steve and I took on the extra expense to make sure that the frameworks are being built in a way that the framework is one thing, that's the website, and then the content, the way that it gets uploaded as a file, and then your file of content, which is specific to your content about the company name, phone number, example, that kind of stuff, is another file. So even though the framework goes up, we can update the content in the content files very simply by giving them to you, and it's one simple upload and a merge or an overwrite depending on the situation. So keeping that in mind, there's so many things that we can do going forward, but I'm always going to be the devil's advocate that you have to start with the simple basic stuff, understand it before you move forward.
I'm going to share my screen very quickly because I want to show you a free keyword tool, and that's Google. And what I do is I do a search for emergency electrician Bristol and scroll to the bottom, and it's got suggestions. So here we can have a look now, and we can say electrical qualifications, emergency electrician near me, and you can just keep different things down here, and eventually you'll get like a 24-hour emergency electrician. You can have a look at other ones in here. So you get some ideas of what keywords people are searching for, because this is related searches that Google gives you. Free emergency electrician, even though I don't think you'd ever get a free one, to be honest. And so you can keep searching and searching and getting different ideas, and then take words out of this accordingly. And that's your free keyword tool that I use all the time to build up different bits and pieces on here. So 24/7 emergency electrician near me, call out electrician near me. Yeah, and there's some of the keywords here that come up will be different. And also in the headers on here, get a quote. So it gives you a rough idea using Google as a keyword tool to be able to build out those pages also. And that's free. You don't have to pay for a keyword tool for that information. But we got some exciting things coming up in the new year, guys. And we appreciate all of you and anyone who's watching the replay, because we've got people in countries that can't join the lives because of the time. But we just, both from myself and Robert, we want to wish you guys happy holiday season. Christmas is coming up, however you celebrate it. We are just so grateful for you guys being part of our journey with DFI Magic Themes. We wish you all the best in 2022. It's weird saying that, 2022. And we just want you guys to grow and grow and grow. And if you get stuck, please, please, please raise a support ticket. We're always here to reply back if you're stuck with something's bothering you. You know, I always say life gets in the way, but ultimately the aim of DFI Magic Themes is a KISS. Keep it super simple. And that's what we're trying to do, which is why I don't always get into the advanced stuff, because we want to keep it super simple. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, and however you celebrate it, spend time with your loved ones. Work will wait a little bit longer. And we absolutely love all of you guys. You guys are action takers, and we're so proud of everything you're doing. And we'll see you on the live in the new year. But please reach out for the support desk if you need us.
Thanks for everything that the two of you have done.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
We love all.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, and we love all the encouragement you guys pass back and the love you pass back. It's awesome. So have a lovely break, and we've got lots to do, but we'll get there.
Santa
Night,
says
everyone.
he's watching you.
Yeah, we got that.
Hey, before we go, Santa, am I on the naughty or nice list?
You go back and forth.
It depends on the day.
I'm going to get half a lump of coal and a decent present this year then.
The half a lump of coal will be a decent present.
Before we go, Santa, can we get a ho, ho, ho?
Nope.
Come on. Brilliant. I love this group. It's awesome. We've got to bring Santa up before we go for the last time, don't we? Let me see if I can find him. And add to spotlight. Here we go. He's checking his list. He's checking it twice.
You guys all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and may next year be better than this year. And I really appreciate the both of you and everybody in the group. So with that, Santa out.
Thanks, Santa.
Thank you, guys. Well, see you in the new year.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye for now.